Hi y'all, thank you for clicking into my kitchen. Today I am sharing 3 easy air fryer sides that I like to make when Ronnie has the grill going. So we're going to start off with these crispy onion rounds, which have 10 grams of protein and 5 net carbs. And then we're going to move on to the Brussels sprouts, which have 5 grams of protein and 3 net carbs. And of course, you can't have barbecue without cornbread, right? And that cornbread there has 10 grams of protein and 4 net carbs. Hi, I'm Tina, and on this channel, I share high protein, low carb recipes that taste good. I eat low carb because I have to. I have reactive hypoglycemia, and a low carb diet is the treatment. Now let's get cooking. Today's video is being sponsored by COSORI. I have their 6-quart TurboBlaze air fryer, and I'll be using that to cook all 3 of these recipes today. And we are going to start out with the Parmesan Onion Rounds. So we have 2 medium onions here, and I'm just going to slice off the ends of those. And then I'm going to just take off this outer layer here. And I probably could have done that a little bit more gracefully. Okay, there we go. That's onion 1. And we'll get onion 2 going here. So I am a little bit accident prone, so I do have an upright mandolin that I'm going to use. So this one we just pop in here, and then it slices very easily. All right, now that we have these sliced up, we're just going to lay them into the bottom of the air fryer. Next thing we want to do is just give them a light spray of avocado oil. And I'm using the avocado oil because it has a higher smoke point. And that way I don't set the smoke detectors off in my house. Ask me how I know that. All right. Next we want to sprinkle on some seasonings. And I do about a ½ teaspoon of each. So I'm going to start with paprika. Salt and pepper to taste. Now I'm going to hold off on the salt until after they're done, mostly because Parmesan cheese is already pretty salty and I don't want to make it more too salty. So I'm just going to put a little pepper on here to start. All right. Now next up is the cheese. So we want to shred us some Parmesan cheese. I have my handy little cheese shredder that I know and love. Just makes it a little bit easier for me. And we want about a cup of the Parmesan cheese. All right, so now we're just going to sprinkle the Parmesan cheese over the top. Once the cheese is on there, we're going to give it one little short spray of avocado. And we're going to pop it in the air fryer at 370 for 9 to 11 minutes. So the timer just went off, so let's just check them out and see how they look. Oh yeah, those look perfect. So the longer they sit in here, the crispier they will get. So if you prefer a softer onion, you'll want to go ahead and eat them sooner rather than later. Of course, crispier, just let them sit for a few minutes. I'm going to go ahead and take these out and transfer them to the cutting board. For sauces on this, of course, I think the standards are normally ranch and ketchup, and I've certainly used those. I'm really digging this Southwest creamy ranch that I found from Taste Company. They don't use seed oils. It uses avocado oil. It's clean ingredients. It tastes fantastic. So I am really digging this sauce right now. So that's probably the one I'm going to taste this with. So cut me off a piece. There we go. We still have a little bit of a crunch there. And Ugh. I am not being at all graceful about this taste. It has a roasted onion flavor, very reminiscent of a French onion soup, while still kind of having that onion ring vibe thing going on. They're very good. They are starting to get a little bit crunchy. I have let them sit a little bit too long, but still very tasty. So next up on the agenda is my sweet chili Brussels sprouts with pancetta. And we're gonna start by getting the Brussels sprouts ready. Basically pretty easy. You're just gonna cut off each end and then peel off this outer layer. And then we'll cut it in half and toss it in the bowl. All right, we're just gonna do this with the entire batch. I think I love this recipe so much because it means that my son is coming over for dinner. Ronnie does not like Brussels sprouts, so I don't typically make them. If it's just the two of us, I will wait until Dylan's coming over. Now that we got the Brussels sprouts all chopped and cleaned, we're gonna dump in 4 ounces of chopped pancetta. Publix is so kind to have this already pre-chopped for me. So we'll put that in there. We're gonna add 1 tablespoon of avocado oil, and we're using that for the high smoke point. And additionally, what we're gonna do is add in 2 tablespoons of water to the bottom of the air fryer, and that's to help prevent any smoke from the pancetta drippings on the bottom of the air fryer pan. And now we're gonna add in 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and a half a teaspoon of pepper. I am gonna leave the salt out until the end again because pancetta is already very salty with the curing process, so we don't wanna make it too salty. I'm gonna go ahead and mix this up. And we're gonna dump this right into the air fryer with no liner so that we can ensure they get nice and crispy and the pancetta gets nice and cooked. All right. Go. We're going to dump that right in there. And we're going to stick this in the air fryer at 375 and it'll cook a total of 15 minutes, but we're going to check on it every 5 minutes or so, see how it looks and give it a good shake. So one thing that I do really like about this air fryer is the PFAS-free ceramic coating makes it so easy to clean. A lot of the stuff I'm cooking in it, I can just wipe out and it's easy peasy, comes right off. But it's dishwasher safe, so if I needed to, I could just pop it in the dishwasher. So that's pretty handy. So we're at the 10-minute mark now. And these are little Brussels sprouts. So I think what I'm gonna do is go ahead and toss them in the sweet chili sauce, which is the next step rather than going another 5 minutes. So after we dump it in the bowl, we're going to add 3 to 4 tablespoons of sweet chili sauce. And I think I'm gonna stick with the 3 tablespoon mark just because these are smaller Brussels sprouts. The sweet chili sauce actually happens to be the inspiration for the entire dish. Ronnie and I were out riding on a motorcycle one day and stopped at a gastropub for lunch, and they had a dish similar to this. So this is my attempt to recreate that dish that I really liked, and it has now become one of my favorites for when my son comes over. All right, so now that we've got these tossed in the sweet chili sauce, I'm gonna dump them back in the air fryer and we're gonna stick them in for about 2 more minutes just to give them a chance to get nice and glazed. All right, let's get them out of the air fryer and see how they turned out. Those look yummy. They look so pretty. Oh, not too pretty to taste, but they look pretty. All right, let's get some pancetta here, if I can, and a little bit of Brussels. Doesn't need salt. The smoky saltiness of the pancetta definitely shines through. The Brussels sprouts are nicely caramelized, and that sweet chili sauce definitely brings it all home. I love Brussels sprouts this way. If you're not the biggest fan of Brussels sprouts, you really got to try them like this because it's just a whole different flavor profile. It's very good. And I would sit here and eat this whole bowl, but we got to make some cornbread. So when I went low carb and started looking for a cornbread recipe, I found Maya's, and I continue to use that to this day. The only modification I made is to the bake time. So in the description, I will link you to her recipe along with my notes on how I cooked it. So we're gonna start off with 2.5 cups of almond flour. And we're going to add 1/2 tablespoon of baking powder and 1/4 cup of allulose. So let's talk about North versus South for a second. I'm a military brat, born in the Philippines, lived all over the country. Dad's a New Yorker, mom's a Floridian. So we are no strangers to the North versus South debate when it comes to grits and oatmeal and, of course, cornbread. So my question is it sweet or not sweet? Because I have lived my entire adult life in Florida. I consider myself a Southerner, but I like my cornbread sweet. So I don't know if that's just a Tina thing, a Southern thing, a Northern thing, I don't know. But leave me a comment and let me know what your thoughts are. So now we need to add in our 1/2 teaspoon of salt and sift this up so that we don't have any lumps or clumps in our cornbread. Now that this is sifted up, we're gonna go ahead and add in our wet ingredients. And we'll start off with 1/3 cup of melted butter. And the star of the show, we have 1/2 tablespoon of sweet corn extract. And that is what is gonna give it its cornbread flavor. We wanna get all of that. Okay. Now we'll just mix this up really good. Now that that's mixed up, we're gonna let it sit for about 10 minutes so that the almond flour has a chance to absorb all of the liquids, and then we'll get it into the pan, which we are going to prepare now by spraying it with some avocado spray. Now that this has had a chance to absorb, we'll go ahead and put it into our cake pan and get it into the air fryer. We're gonna bake it at 300 degrees for 35 to 40 minutes, but we're gonna start checking on it about the 25-minute mark just to see if we might need to cover it up if it gets too dark on the top. All right, it's been 20 minutes, so we're gonna check on the cornbread. If it looks too brown on the top and not done in the middle, we'll just put a piece of aluminum foil over the top to prevent it from over browning. Okay. Actually, I think we might be done. Let's give it a poke and see. Oh yeah. The COSORI TurboBlaze finished it in 20 minutes. My other air fryer takes about 35 minutes. So that's excellent news that we're gonna get our cornbread even quicker. Although I will say, since all air fryers are different, you might wanna start taking a look at yours at the 15-minute mark rather than the 20-minute mark, just in case yours cooks quicker too. Let's get this out of here. Set her on the cutting board. So while this is cooling off, just to let you know, all of my recipes are in MyFitnessPal. I'll put in the description below how you can search for those. I will also have a link to my website where I have a printable version of the recipe for you. I will pop a QR code right here for my TV viewers that take you right there so you don't have to worry about getting back to your computer. As far as storage is concerned, you can store both the Brussels sprouts and the onions in an airtight container for 3 to 4 days in the refrigerator. I reheat mine at 350 in the air fryer for about 5 minutes. For the cornbread, for us, it only lasts a couple of days and I just keep it covered on the counter. But if you're gonna keep it any longer than that, I would probably store it in the refrigerator. All right, let's take a look and see how it turned out. Oh yeah, that is a pretty piece of cornbread. Let's see if it's a tasty piece of cornbread. I'll put a little bit of this Wholesome Yum sugar-free honey on here because you gotta have honey or butter on cornbread. Let's give her a taste. Very savory with the touch of sweet that you'd expect. Is a lot more tender than a standard cornbread would be, but excellent option for those of us that are low carb. And there you have it. That's my dinner for the evening. As soon as Ronnie brings that chicken in off the grill, I got some crispy onions, some Brussels sprouts, a sprout skeptic would even love, and a low carb cornbread that doesn't feel like it's missing a thing. If you'd like to check out the COSORI TurboBlaze air fryer, I'm gonna drop a link down below in the description. It actually is a phenomenal air fryer. It cooks better than all of the previous air fryers I've ever had, so I do highly recommend it. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, I'll drop you in a sweets and treats playlist right here so you can pick out a dessert. If you find something that you like, I hope you consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you for watching my video.